What is going on, good people? We got a little Impact Wrestling discussion here. I titled the video, "Do fans like Impact Wrestling now?" But in explanation, after Slammiversary, I'm hearing all this positive publicity about Impact, and I'm like, hold up now. Is this the same company that people have been bashing since like it started? And especially since like what 2012, at least 2011. You know, it's been really like they're going out a bit. You know, we talked about it before. We mentioned this at least 3 million times on the show. So I guess I want to pose the question, and maybe you guys aren't seeing it, or you may be seeing it. Are fans kind of changing their tone on Impact now? If I had to answer it in like one word, I would say kinda. And that don't even like make a definitive left or right, does it? I feel like Slammiversary maybe helped. Maybe the Impact Wrestling, the big change, Impact Wrestling, yeah, no more TNA, Impact Wrestling. I feel like maybe that like it's finally like, oh, we got rid of the stigma. The stigma. Anyway, I don't feel like it's changed. I think it's temporary. If I had to lean one way or the other, I think it's temporary. I think people are like, oh, that was a good pay per view, and I watched some of it. I watched a couple matches of it, and I was like, it was pretty good. But I feel like if you haven't watched the weekly shows, you wouldn't understand. Like I think we understand where it is now as opposed to where it was even just 2 years ago in 2016. When I said on the Slammies that it was the best weekly show that I had seen that entire year. So I think we all know the big differences. I think Casey differs from Rabbit and I as far as that opinion is concerned. But I definitely think like us three in general, we know the differences between what we've seen because we've been watching it every single week for the most part, with a couple of weeks here and there. We've been watching it so consistently for so long. But either one of you two want to chime in on? Do you feel like fans are kind of changing their tone now? Even is it temporary? Is it permanent? Or is it just because the pay-per-view happened and they're like, oh yeah, you know what? It's like WrestleMania. Like, yeah, WWE turned the corner because WrestleMania happened. So,
Hold up. Did you get a haircut?
Did I get a haircut? I got a haircut last Friday.
DJ got a haircut. Yeah, DJ did it. I don't know why I just noticed now. But
I get a haircut every week. I just got the size taper this time. Rabbit knows about tapering up the sides. He fade deal over there.
On the side, like, I told the side. Anyway, I didn't watch Slammiversary. I wasn't home, and I haven't watched it yet, so I can't go on anything with that. But I think part of it is what we always complain about with Impact fans. They're a constant roller coaster. Like this month, oh, Impact's great, blah blah blah. Oh, it's the greatest show. Next month, or whatever, next week, whatever. Oh, they're going out of business. It's just that constant roller coaster that never ends with Impact fans, and it could have just been a really good, pay-per-view that everyone's like, oh my god, it's great now. I guarantee next week they're gonna be like, oh, they're going out of business again. It never sticks. So anytime there's a hype around Impact, like you said, we understand it because we watch consistently. We're fans of it. But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna hold my breath that all these fans are gonna continue to be like, oh, Impact is changed and it's great now. They're gonna go right back to complaining again. It's what they always do. Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know exactly what it is, if it was just a good pay-per-view or what, but it's not gonna stay. It's not gonna stick. They're gonna go back and forth like they always do.
Rob, you got any initial thoughts on this?
Me, see, this goes back to the question I asked, I think, a couple of shows before. When I was asking, is this the product everybody wanted, everybody was looking for? You know what I'm saying? And if this is it right here, you can't tell by the viewership is because it's still below, even when they was with Destination X. So it ain't. I mean Destination whatever station that was.
Yeah, this is fair.
Yeah. But to me, I think I already said, to me, the wrestling, the promos, the storylines, none of that is even nowhere near the caliber, the talent as it was 2 years ago. Now, if it's somebody out there in the wrestling world that actually disagrees with that, I would like to hear from them real immediately. You know what I'm saying? Because if you've been watching TNA for, I say 5 years, take 5 years. If you've been watching for the last 5 years, you know what you've been watching for this last year. It's not as good as what you've been seeing. So that's for fact. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny that. You know what I'm saying? Even if you can stand Dixie or you love Dixie. The facts are this product is not better than the product that Dixie had out there. That's just the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? It was better promos, it was better wrestling, and the storylines was better. That was just easier said. It's just easy, hands down. You know what I'm saying? To me, the stigma was Dixie. Because once Dixie took over, just her face, her running things, it crawls, it rubbed people wrong, you know what I'm saying, in the wrestling industry. You know what I'm saying? Smearing off and the rest of them, you know what I'm saying? They just don't like that. You know what I'm saying? So any product with any dude running it in the ground or wherever, into the trash can, they don't care. As long as it's not a female running the whole thing, they don't care. Especially not Dixie. You know what I'm saying? So it was something about Dixie they ain't like. And even, besides the fact she's a female, that was a problem. But they didn't like her because she was outside the box. She wasn't with the WWE thing. She always wanted everything that WWE did. She wanted to do the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Even when they didn't want to call wrestlers, she got out there and made sure that her wrestlers was saying we are professional wrestlers on the mic at all times. You know what I'm saying? So she always separated those two from WWE. She always made sure her product was something different. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that would crawled up the skin and it attracted some of his big time wrestlers at certain times in their career. You know what I'm saying? So to me, she was like a crawl up everybody's skin that they ain't really like her, but they like what she was doing. You know what I'm saying? If it was somebody else doing it, because she had everything in 120 something countries. They was in UK every week. I mean, every other, I think they had a station over there. You know what I'm saying? A channel they was working on over there. You know what I'm saying? So she was busy. You know what I'm saying? So compared to what's going on now, it's just a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Even with the second show they had, what's the name of that? The second show.
Under Pressure. Was it Under Pressure?
They got like a second little show that they be having. Explosion, exactly. Yeah, that was being played more. It wasn't on the screen as much, but it was more catered with what was going on with the screen. You know what I'm saying? So when you watch Explosion, you're watching a wrestler that's right now being played on the screen. You know what I'm saying? So it was connected. You know what I'm saying? Now you already had that. You know what I'm saying? So you got podcasts out there that's down in the product all the time. You got former wrestlers acting like they don't want. They had the worst time of their life when they was dead, even though it was the best time of their career. You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to never admit that. You know what I'm saying? Most of them, Bubba Ray, all of them. You know what I'm saying? Rude. You know, go down the line. All these people would, if it wasn't no TNA, they wouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Because Bubba Ray they've been let him go from WWE. They ain't like him or his brother. You know what I'm saying? So all the even the brother, you know, those two too. They let them two go. One of them was on drugs. You know what I'm saying? You know, and TNA let him in that joint. The Hardy Boys. You know?
Yeah, man.
Nobody wanted him, but TNA gave him a chance. Dixie gave him a chance, 2 chances, because he came in there high one time. One of the pay-per-views. He smacked on top of the cage. You know what I'm saying? So, and she let him get away. You know what I'm saying? She helped him out of that situation instead of just dropping him like WWE would have done to him. You know what I'm saying? She got him help. And that right there helped him for the next 3-4 years in his career. But then he blew up more under another character. You know what I'm saying? Drug-free. So she helped his career, not just on the screen, but at home too. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing about this that was different. She was more of a family-oriented owner. You know what I'm saying? She had like people with kids in the back and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a different thing going on. You know what I'm saying? To me, this wrestling right here is not the same. You know what I'm saying? The people that you see in the matches are not giving their all. You know what I'm saying? It's not that in their promos, they're not all in it. It's just certain people you can pick out that's hitting promos on the money. You know what I'm saying? And there's certain people that everybody else just talking. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't like that at first. Each person had purpose with their promos at first, and even if you didn't like the person, they was coming off clear with their promos. You know what I'm saying? Even DJ Z and them, you know what I'm saying? They was coming off when they had the tag team. They was coming off nice in the promos, you know what I'm saying? Even back then. Dixieland, when they did that, the promos was nice. EC3, she even groomed the wrestler from nothing and blew him up, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it was just so much going on that I could go all night just on the things that was happening, you know what I'm saying? Compared to now, it's just nothing happening to me that's better than it. And it's hard for you to tell me that now. That's why I want to look people in the face. I want people to talk to me that love TNA, that couldn't stand it when Dixie was there, but maybe liking it now. Explain to me what is it that you liking that's different now? You know what I'm saying? Because
I think it goes back. I think it goes back to you know, we had a discussion on this a couple months ago when they really started getting rid of a lot of people, kind of house cleaning a little bit, and then they started, you know, bringing in this kind of new talent, some talent that people didn't know, some talent that you know, certain people know, hardcore fans knew, and we talked about it as far as like them going back to their roots a little bit. You know, I remember all three of us were here when we mentioned that, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe people are taking note that they are, albeit it was criticized at first, but maybe people are taking note that they are going back to what really made the Asylum Days special when the Asylum Days were happening. What really made, you know, these different divisions special when they felt like they were different than everybody else. I don't really know. I can't really pinpoint. That's the one thing that I can think of that's kind of different from when Dixie was running it. You know, because you had a lot of this big star power. Don't get me wrong. Not to, you know, discredit Austin Aries, not to discredit you know, any of these other guys, Cage, Matt Sydal, any of these other guys, but at the same time, some of these guys haven't had their true chance to shine yet. I feel like too, like, you know, we're seeing a lot of newer faces, I feel like, and maybe that's what's the kind of more as Rabbit would say, maybe a more pure wrestling based than a promo heavy that we had kind of seen in the past. Because, you know, a lot of people mentioned it during that kind of the Hogan era. You know, it was more promo based. It was more, you know, sports entertaining, I guess, was what people were feeling like it was, because it was promo based. It was very storyline heavy, and they felt like they didn't focus as much in the ring. But now, not to say that this is necessarily better or worse. I don't think it's as good as the Hogan era or what we just you know, we just talked about in 2016 that I thought was one of the best years. I still feel like, you know, that I don't know. I don't know where to pinpoint where it is, and I do like Casey had said before. I definitely think it's temporary. You know, I think it's just, you know, pinballing back and forth. You know, they're excited for a little bit. It is Impact, so they'll turn their back on them again. You know, that's kind of what they do. But I definitely feel like you know, this right now, like I don't understand, like I don't get why people are like being very accepting to it now, because, you know, I agree with Rabbit. What we seen 2 years ago was way better. You know, what we seen probably 1 year ago was a little bit better. Like last year wasn't great either. You know, I think it's kind of on par with this year. But I think, you know, back in 2016, what we saw then, what we saw in 2015, even back to 2014, I think was better than what we're seeing now. On a consistent basis, from a consistency perspective, you might can throw out a pay-per-view and get people's attention because it's just one show. Casey, I saw you.
Yeah,
exactly. Boy,
I was just gonna add a little bit on what Rabbit said, and then but we start with that. As far as a lot of the guys leaving, back in the, you know, Dixie era or whatever we're gonna call it, a lot of it was, again, and we've talked about it before, certain guys not getting paid, certain guys not being treated well. And I'm not gonna put the blame on Dixie. I'm gonna put the blame on Impact itself, because it's like we had a discussion on Vince McMahon a while back. It's the same thing with him. Yes, he owns the company, but he can't run every single little thing. Dixie was in charge of the company. She couldn't run every single little thing. So just, you know, people may have not been paid. She might not have known about that. You know, she's got so much to deal with. People may not have been treated well. She may not have known about that. So I don't want to put just the blame on her like a lot of people did. But those are some of the reasons that a lot of those guys did decide to leave Impact originally. But as far as now, to an extent, I like what they have now. I think they have some incredible talent on their roster. I think they have some of the best professional wrestlers in the business right now. Where I think the issue lies is in Impact and the creative. Because we've talked about it. You know, they'll start one storyline and then out of nowhere, it's like they just completely forget it, or, you know, they won't let certain guys do what, you know, their strengths are, or, you know, it's
inconsistent.
Yeah, it's the writing and the creative, I think, is the issue. I think they have, like I said, they have some of the best talent in the world. It's just allowing them to do what they can do and giving them good storylines and, you know, something to really kind of sink their teeth into. It's kind of like, you know, giving you a character this week and then, oh, next week we're going to completely change, you know, your whole storyline. It's got to be confusing for the guys in the back too, you know, the wrestlers, because you don't know if you're still going to have the same storyline next week from the one you had last week.
Yeah, and to credit the writing team for a second here, I think Slammiversary is one of the first pay-per-views where it didn't feel like stuff was just thrown together at the last minute. We talked about this with Impact for years and years and years, where like we would get to a pay-per-view and it felt like they had plenty of time to build it because they don't have as many. But for whatever reason, it felt like it was the week before when we were finally getting the build to the pay-per-views. It was a week or 2 weeks before. But I think with Slammiversary, you know, you had Austin Aries versus Moose, which had a couple of weeks to build, and then that was based off of you know, Moose winning his number one contenders, you know, shot. You had that the LAX on LAX, I guess is what we're gonna call it with that. You know, you have feuds. There's one more I can't think of right off the top of my head, but like, and even if it was like didn't only have but a couple of weeks to build, it still felt like there was depth within a lot of the storylines. Even some of those, like the Sue Young and Madison Rain storyline that we all hate, but at the same time, it felt like it went really deep. It felt like it lasted for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, even though it was only built for, I think, 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks out. But Rabbit, you were mentioning something before Casey had a point. You remember what it is?
No, I was saying exactly what you were saying. Piggyback about the certain time that is better than now, but you hit all the times on the nail. The times I didn't like was when Vince Russo and Smirnoff, when they took over. You know what I'm saying? That when they had their chances, that's when time got crazy. And Pritzker. You know what I'm saying? To me, like you said, it's hard to blame her for everything that happens. You know what I'm saying? Because once she hired these people, she's expecting them to know wrestling and take over the product and know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And take care of these wrestlers the way they're supposed to be taken care of. You know what I'm saying? But once you hire Vince Russo and Smirnoff, these two people don't care about the product. You know what I'm saying? They can care less about your product. They worry about being stars or letting Vince McMahon see them shine. some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So they'd be on promos all day and all that. Pritchard having terrible storylines, just like now. Like you said, the storylines they were short, but they was terrible. You know what I'm saying? But once you got into the pay-per-view, you knew what was going on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it was an ending to the terrible storyline and the promos that built up to it. You know what I'm saying? So the pay-per-view was a clean pay-per-view. It wasn't no terrible pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of links to the matches that was before. You know what I'm saying? The storylines, even though they was terrible. You know what I'm saying? So, but like my man said, what they have going on now. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's not better, there's no way anybody in the wrestling world can tell me it's better than what was going on before. That's crazy. But what they got going on now, at this moment, is like Casey said, they got a good roster, man. They got talented wrestlers on this joint, and I'm noticing they letting them like this used to do. They letting them do their own promos. They letting them be their self. So that's a good beginning. That's a good start. That's something I love. When you gotta let them be their self, that's the only way you can get a star or a bust. You gotta hurry up and find out, are they a star? Give them the mic. Do you? I'm not gonna write nothing for you. Nobody wrote nothing for wrestlers back in the day, man. They told them what the storyline. They wrote their stuff on their own. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you get stars. You know what I'm saying? Or no, or you don't get them. You get hurry up and get that one out the way, and you find out they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So, and like you said, the women's division, KO division, I'm loving it. I like the players that they stuck in there. I love Hogan. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, they ain't not noticing that she doing the Hogan play off her, but that's cool off of my man Hogan. But yeah, I like her. She fast, and then you got Blanchard. Oh my God, I love her. If you want, you could just make this a straight KO show for real, and just every night just straight KO, and I love it because to me, Blanchard, I want to see her. They got this new what's her name? Shotzi. I like the way she did a little promo. I want to see more of her. I just like the women they have on the roster. You know what I'm saying? It's different from the whole total roster, but I love the women. You know what I'm saying? And then they got Madison Rain up in there doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? So they got some veteran pieces in there. They need to stick a couple more in there, but I like what they got going on starting for the KO division. You know what I'm saying? Heavyweight division, I'm not feeling. You know what I'm saying? And the X division, I'm not feeling. So the tag team division is okay. They need to stick more people in. No tag teams need to be showing up real quick and real soon. You know what I'm saying? With some storylines, you know. But other than that, DJ,
I think the one thing they got now too, and that's the one thing about having younger guys, you know, and gals, wrestlers that aren't really known, but at the same time, you know, some of them have following, some of them don't. I think the one thing about it, you get people who are young, hungry, but also at the same time, you know, they're selfless. You know, they you know, we seen it with guys like Moose. You know, he's had a success here, but at the same time, put on a good match with Austin Aries, but he didn't get an ego about him where it was like, you know, where he's gonna leave, you know, because he's not winning or whatever. Like, I feel like that's one thing we're really starting to get with this kind of new crop of talent. You know, you're seeing these people being pushed, but at the same time, they're not afraid to take a couple of losses in order to continue to build themselves. Casey, you about to say some words?
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. You're talking about like kind of, you know, I know a lot of these, you know, guys that maybe Rabbit and DJ don't know, because I watch a lot more indie stuff than they do. But I like when there's guys that come in that I don't know, because it gives you that kind of, you know, discovering something. It often feels in professional wrestling anymore, you don't discover new people anymore. It's like you almost automatically know people coming into WWE or Impact or whatever, and it's kind of refreshing to have somebody that you don't know, that it's like, okay, you know, let me see what this guy has to offer, or this girl, you know, what kind of wrestler are they? What kind of character are they? I like when they actually bring people in that maybe not a lot of people know, because it refreshes it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And like you said, with the we said people leave because of the ego. That was a big part of it right there. When you don't get a championship, you've been in wrestling forever. You was in WWE. You feel like you're a big star. We go to TNA. You're expecting them to hand you the belts. And when TNA wasn't handing them the belt, they start problems. They want to leave. You know what I'm saying? Then TNA the whole company is some garbage, and all this is going on. You know what I'm saying? All because it's not going the way they want, because they feel like they're entitled for stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you bring in Vince Russo, you know what I'm saying? You bring him in, they bring in wrestlers that they back in the day with, and they feel entitled. They feel like they're supposed to be on the mic. You know what I'm saying? That's why I give Hogan a little credit. When he did come back that time, he noticed that he didn't hog the mic. He tried to blow wrestlers up. You know what I'm saying? He even gave my man his cape. What was my man? The 7-footer. Oh man, what's my man? He gave him his cape. They had a little storyline going on with the cape. His cape he used to wear back in the day in the 70s. And he pulled that joint out and put it on him. God, my man, 7-footer.
Matt Morgan.
Matt Morgan. He used to put the Matt Morgan. He used to put the cape on him. And they was having a wrestling match over the cape. That was good stuff, man. He blew A-double up. You know what I'm saying? When they had the X division, you know what I'm saying? He used to love A-double. You know what I'm saying? So I used to like certain things he used to do back in TNA back in the day was good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I just like the fact that the KO division and I just like some of the players they got. And like you said, with the ego, that was some of the problem. You know what I'm saying? The young talent always hungry. They don't care if they had the belts or anything. They on TV. That right there, they go home and praise everybody in love with them. They on TV. They can care less if they had the belts. The belts come in with people that have been wrestling forever. They've been there 15, 20 years, and they feel like they should have the belt because everybody else young. They don't know. They feel like I'm supposed to have this belt, man. I'm a veteran. Why are you giving them the belt? You know what I'm saying? When in reality, the youngest should have the belts. It's the future. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to put the belts on anybody for real. You should know who's going to have the belt. Once you get concentrated on 2 or 3 people getting the belt, that's where the problem starts. It should be you shouldn't never know, unpredictable, who can be champion at any time. That's why I usually like TNA, because anybody can end up being champion. Hence Saban. You know what I'm saying?
Although I will say, if I was in a promoter's position, I would initially put the title on a veteran, and then I would have the younger guys have a feud with the veteran to have the veteran put the younger guys over eventually in that feud. Because that's how you put the younger guys over. You have to use these veterans to get these young guys over. Not every young guy is going to be able to put themselves over, and that's why you have those veterans. So certain situations, maybe they should have put the title on the veterans just for that reason. But yeah, also I do agree also with like some of them did have egos, and I've been in the business 15, 20 years, whatever, give me the title. I get that. And there was another point I was gonna make and I forgot
it. You're getting old, man. You're getting old. But like you said too, like I feel like it's good for them to be able to prove, because like a lot of people, like you said, they feed off of each other. Especially the young guy versus the veteran. If a young guy comes in, he's a new guy. Brian Cage comes in and beats Lashley twice. I mean to bring that up, but it was just the one I could think of. But Brian Cage comes in, beats Lashley twice. He didn't prove something now. We talked about it with I think we said Lashley should feud with, who was it? It was somebody. Somebody Lashley should have. We were talking about people who should have took the title off Lashley and they never did. It was somebody newer.
Brian Cage.
It wasn't Brian Cage. It was somebody else. It was before Brian Cage. But like we were talking about it though. But we were like, that guy should be the guy to take the title off of Lashley. It might have been Moose, I can't remember right offhand, but it was somebody like that, you know, that kind of, because I never felt like, you know, this is getting off on another discussion, but I know, you know, we're about to close out here, but I always felt like, you know, Lashley had that beast, monster, animal type thing that where like nobody could beat him, but they never used it properly. And that would have been, like Casey said, a perfect way, you know, to take the title off of him and make it feel like it was the biggest thing in the world. Because I always felt like anybody who took the title off Lashley should feel like it's the biggest thing in the world. And every time it would be a roll up or a leverage pin. And like those are the situations I hate to roll up in the leverage pin, when it just feels like it's a fluke, when you could have made something big out of Moose by letting him beat Lashley. But
Yeah.
that's just,
But I remember what I was gonna say. I feel like
that's what happened to old people. They remember it like 3 years later.
the thing that ideally Impact needs to do, which they can't do because it's impossible, but they need to take all the good aspects of each era, put it all together. They'll have the perfect Impact. You just need to take all the good parts from each era, just put it all together. You're gonna have the perfect Impact.
But you can't do that when you say you're no longer affiliated with that. You just Impact now. So
And
you
then
can't reach back and grab none of that.
we ain't gonna talk about them doing a Slammiversary 16. I'm just saying we ain't gonna talk about that. We ain't gonna say nothing about that.
Slammiversary 16, Impact is only 2 years old. How they have 16? A Slammiversary 16. Where they get that from?
We all know damn well it's still TNA. All right, we know this. All right.
Anyway, as we close out, we hope you guys enjoy the discussion. We got more discussions coming very, very soon. We got our NXT and Impact reviews coming back next week. Reason we're doing this week, felt like it was too late. Felt like we might as well do a discussion. And we got a new NXT champion, but I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want to make Casey too mad now. I want to make Casey too mad. And he won it before Johnny Gargano dang on it. But anyway, we hope you guys enjoy. Appreciate Rabbit and Casey for coming by, helping me out here, so I'm not lonely. Because I did a video alone, you know, a while back, and I was like, it's so lonely. Like I don't understand who I'm supposed to fight with. Dang on it. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for us. Make sure you watch the end of the video first and then go back so you know to hit the subscribe button at the beginning. And I don't know. Eventually, I'm gonna tell y'all to hit subscribe at the beginning. But for now, y'all watch the last like 20 seconds. Then you go watch the beginning.
Wait, hold up. One more thing. Before we forget, because sometimes we forget the big important things. Before we forget, he was robbed. Robbed. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. He was robbed. The light went in his eye, and you know he got the salt in his eye too. He couldn't stop it.
He won't. But we'll definitely talk more about that on the NXT review that is coming up. We hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys next time on whatever review is next. Whatever review is next. Peace.